Welcome to the latest edition of MVC Gridiron Weekly, presented by Davila and DeFusco Insurance. My name is Tim Wood. I am your host, and you will see that we do not have Bill Bryant in the studio today. A lot of trash talking behind the scenes between Hector and Bill has decided to just not show up today.
How dare he have something better to do than us?
Yeah.
Come on, Tim.
So you know, we audibled and we brought. Hector made a call, and very happy to have in the studio Matt Feld from the Boston Herald. We talked to Danny Ventura earlier in the season. Matt, thanks. You could have just called in. I appreciate you making the ride from Boston. It's awesome. It's great to have you.
Oh, it's great to thank you guys for having me. No problem. On a nice Saturday morning, nice easy drive up here, and it's always great to catch up.
Where do you live? Right near Boston, or?
Yeah, I live right in the city.
Yep.
I live a couple miles over from the Herald.
Nice.
So yeah.
So where were you last night? What were you covering?
So I actually had some ISL football for the first time this year. Usually I'm not on the ISL circuit, but with the SATs today, all the games got moved to Friday night. And so I covered St. Sebastian's. It's probably my first ISL football game in a couple of years. Usually I'm on the MIA circuit. But with the SATs today, all those games got moved last night, so we needed a little extra coverage on that end. Very
nice. So we're excited to have you up, talk some Merrimack Valley football.
This guy's a rising star, Tim.
Yeah, no
honest
kidding.
to God.
I mean, serious.
We don't get talent like this in here, especially in that seat. Okay. Was that my out loud voice? I'm sorry about that.
Jeez.
That might have been a little venting, Tim, about some of the things, some of the shots that Bill might have tossed across our bar.
It is definitely a lot of shots going across.
But honestly,
I'm running interference.
Little Charles Barkley, Shaquille O'Neal.
Yeah, a little bit. All in good fun.
Bill's probably out celebrating the Methuen win last night. A huge Methuen win, though, right?
I mean, these guys are the cardiac kids in terms of just making the comebacks late. Methuen again with another win late in the game, down 14-0 at the half. Methuen comes back 20-17 over Andover. So some questionable coaching in the end led. Is that?
Are you trying to stir up? We're 2 minutes and 50 seconds in. You're already trying to stir up trouble.
I kind of.
Well, it wasn't exactly Richie Kotite over there. Matt, you'll have to Google that.
I'm a Jets fan, okay?
You'll have to Google that one, but being so young. But no, I mean, look, give credit to Methuen.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. They got the fumble recovery with about 2 minutes left, and once again, Connor Bryant led his third come from behind late game rally this season. Late game drive to win for the Rangers. Great drive ending with a West Korea catch with about 40 seconds to go. And then Rangers defense made a couple stops. Aaron Searth, who we've had on our Methuen Sports Show on Ranger Nation Radio, and Anthony Romano, who we just had on this week, both with big sacks of Victor Harrington on Andover's last attempt. And so the Rangers are 4-1. 3-0 in the MVC Large, and headed towards a big showdown next week. The rivalry, Methuen Central Catholic, 7 p.m. Nicholson Stadium, Methuen, and Central is coming into this game. I mean, it's clicking.
Look, honestly, you never thought that this game. I think if you looked at the schedule, you thought, that'd be a nice game. Methuen Central is always a big rivalry. All of a sudden, this is like epic proportions.
Central's 3-2, 2-0 in the MVC Large, and outscored their opponents 73-14 in the last 2 games.
Yeah, no, the defense put up a heck of a stand yesterday, made a statement. But look, there's nothing quite like the Central Methuen rivalry, Matt. You're not. Over the years, so many Methuen kids have gone to Central Catholic and just fueled that rivalry. We'll have one of those kids on later today.
We will. We will have. So we're going to have West Korea, who made the big catch. We're going to have him on at 10:15, and then at 10:45, Cameron Bose from Central Catholic. So We'll try to get a little bulletin board material, not too much.
Okay, so we have the guest here, so I'm interested in using him.
Yes.
I went to sweetsports.com. I checked out your pick, and you guys were right on Acton Boxborough and Drake it. Acton Boxborough handed Drake it a 35-7 loss Friday night. Why did you guys like Acton Boxborough so much in that one?
Well, it's funny because prior to the season started, there had been some rumblings that Acton Boxborough might be pretty good this season. And of course, in the early going, you kind of always stick to the teams that you're used to being good. And no disrespect to Acton Boxborough, of course, they had that unbelievable run in the 1990s when they won 52 games in a row.
I was going to say, weren't they always good?
Yeah. And Lincoln Sudbury's kind of controlled the DCL the last couple of years.
Right.
Victor Otero and Finn Murray have been kind of a lethal combination, quarterback, wide receiver. Last week, you see what they do to Lincoln Sudbury, and sometimes you worry that there's maybe a bit of a letdown, but just the way they won that game at the end an 8-yard touchdown pass at the buzzer. And I was high on Drake it. I've been high on Drake it. I think they're really under the radar. But sometimes when you get a Division I team that's probably a little bigger up front, that's kind of riding on a high, I just feel like Acton Boxborough right now is as dangerous as any team in the state.
And I did like one of the points you made, Matt. Drake has looked strong for the MVC Small, which is no knock on the MVC Small, but there are just enrollment things, and that's the way things even out. So that was a tough one for the middies on Friday night. But like we say, if you don't play good teams, Tim, you're not going to get better.
And listen, that might be a humbling heading into their big matchup next week against North Andover, who's going to Drake it next week after taking care of business, 37-0 against Chelmsford. They're rolling. I mean, they're 5-0. They're 2-0 in the MVC Small, and as you said, in terms of within the MVC Small, that's gonna tell a story pretty much in terms of playoffs right there.
All right. So before we review Friday night stuff a little bit, get into it a little bit further, can we just spend 5 minutes on the afternoon games today?
Absolutely.
I was thinking about that.
Yeah, absolutely.
For those of you who are live and aren't this week, two big games in the MVC this week. First at 2 o'clock, the giant clash in the Small. Bill Ricca at Tewksbury at Doucette Field, 2 o'clock. Matt, I'm going to ask you because you live in the city. Dwayne Sigsbury this week got the Austin Prep basketball job. Why has he been so successful? I mean, he was good in the city. Was it Cathedral that he was really good at? Yeah. Had that big run there. I won't get into the fact that the unsportsmanlike call across the Foxborough, that was brutal. But honestly, what makes Dwayne so good? What do you tell us?
Well, Dwayne's like a jack of all trades. When I was in high school, he was doing Reading JV basketball, and then he was the assistant varsity basketball coach at Woburn, and now he's at Austin Prep. I think there's a couple things about Dwayne. One is his personality. It's really true. I think it's something that kids really gravitate towards. He really grabs everyone's attention. He seems to be able to kind of adjust on the fly. And it's true, whether it be football in the fall or basketball in the winter, it seems that kids just automatically are drawn to him. I remember a couple of years ago when he was at Bill Ricca, he's obviously still there, but they beat Everett. I mean, and that was huge. And I just think it's his ability to kind of get kids to buy in. I don't think there's anything more important in high school than getting kids to buy in to kind of what you're trying to sell them. And I think Dwayne's better than anyone. And he's done that, not only on the football field but on the basketball court.
Right, in both sports. So, Tim.
So will he stay at Bill Ricca?
Yeah,
in football?
yeah. I mean,
okay.
This is just a different season, and
yep.
They're very close, and so he'll be there. Doucette Field in Tewksbury, one of the great home field advantages.
Oh yeah.
Does it have to do as much with Saturday afternoon as opposed to Friday night, or is it the field? What do you think? Is it just being there and being in that kind of old school homey environment?
I mean, you nailed it though. It's old school, it's homey, but I mean it's awesome. Yeah, there's something to usually owning the spotlight in terms of the Saturday afternoon game, and there's a lot of history there. There's just huge. I mean, every school's got their fan base, but Tewksbury just lives for it on Saturdays.
A lot of history and a rock solid sausage sandwich, if I might add.
Oh my goodness, yeah. And you look at their Hall of Fame, their Hall of Fame wall, and it shows you instantly when you right when you walk in. I mean, what's been there before and what they're living up to, and so it's intimidating going in there. It's not epic,
no,
but it's
funky.
It's
really
funky.
is. Yeah.
Funky. Great. Yeah, absolutely.
Great quarterback matchup today. Conley versus Houlihan in that one.
Oh yeah. Yeah, and listen, again, within the structure, I mean, we're at the point in the season where things are starting. Contenders. This is, I won't say the pretender game.
No.
But I mean, because they're both contenders. But I mean, it's a key moment in terms of the structure of that division, and with just a lot of talent.
And obviously, Matt, I'll serve this one up to you. Teams are jockeying for position in the 8 divisions of MIAA football out there.
So brutal. I mean, it's brutal. I mean, it really is. Tewksbury's Division 3 north, of course. And you mentioned, I mean, they want the 1 seed as much as anyone to be able to play at home throughout the postseason. Something to look for is just, I feel like Tewksbury's defense has been kind of up and down through much of the season. I think they've had 2 shutouts, and I think they've let up, more than 28 points twice, including once to Methuen. I know that was Methuen's one loss, but it's definitely going to be interesting to see. I mean, they play, they come off, a North Andover game that I'm sure that they were all hyped up for, and rightfully so. But North Andover, to me, is as good as anyone outside of maybe Everett in the state right this year.
Wow.
That's saying a lot.
That's saying a lot, absolutely.
But we could hardly disagree the way they've been playing.
No.
I mean, 37 more points last night.
So we got a couple comments already here. We got Sam Ferrullo, who's on the Rangers. What's up, baby? Big win last night from Sam. Absolutely, congratulations, Sammy. Steve, you opened up a can of conversation here in terms of the snack bar. Steve Ewing says best snack bar in the MVC is Drake It.
Oh no! I would give.
You're on
Drake
record
big
there.
Props.
Yeah,
huge fan of hot dogs at Drake and Steve. Absolutely, I'm right on top of that. That was 2 weeks ago. I was on top of Drake. Yes, absolutely.
You heard it here first.
I love the Drake and snack bar.
Methuen would have a little bit to say about that, especially this week with just an epic chili cook-off in the Bruin for the Central.
Well, that's
Methuen
good. That's good thing. I'm glad I can make changes and assert my influence on the important things in life, like chili at the snack bar.
I mean, you're like a Mentos. You're a fresh maker. You really are. You're impressive.
All right, so can we skip on to the second game today, or the later game by an hour? 3 o'clock. Lawrence travels to Haverhill.
And again, Haverhill showed just very good, very strong resolve, great talent, going into Methuen, almost beating them, in a very emotional game with the passing of one of their star athletes, Jordan Rankin, in a car accident the week before. They've got a higher cause going for them right now, and they've also got a lot of talent.
Matt, 2 severely tested communities.
Yeah,
Haverhill,
no question.
Haverhill with the loss of Jordan in the car accident, and Lawrence for what they're dealing with.
Still
dealing with.
Yeah.
But it's okay because they've moved the trailers onto the South Common, Tim. So
those
people displaced can live in trailers.
Apparently everybody's going to have somewhere to live by the 19th now. So good.
So
I mean,
brutal.
good on that. It really is. It's been.
You would like to see Lawrence pick it up a notch today. I remember talking to Mike Yameen for a dozen years when he was a coach. Lawrence struggled on Saturdays for some reason. I'm wondering how they handle Haverhill's tight rushing attack.
The talent is there.
Yeah.
And we keep saying it week after week. Chelmsford's had a rough go of it. Lawrence has had a rough go of it to start, but Lawrence is the type of team that, especially in these town rivalry games, can deliver.
Now, Randy's an Everett guy, the Lawrence head coach, Randy Adet. Do you think he can be successful there, Matt? What do you see from the outside? Can he find a way to turn things around at Lawrence?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's, you guys know this as well as anyone. Sometimes, it just takes patience. It takes time to develop a foundation. And it's, it's tough. You know, Lawrence is always filled with plenty of talented kids. We were talking about the basketball team, of course.
Right.
Yep.
Of course, off air. And again, just to kind of go back to Dwayne, it sometimes just takes a little bit to get kids to kind of buy into your program. You have to get people to have faith that what they're doing is going to lead them to success. So I don't see why not. You kind of just mentioned it, but Lawrence is definitely the type of team that can kind of turn itself on a dime.
You just got to get past the losing and
Sure.
that's the culture
almost.
culture that kind of seeps in, and if from what we see and what we've heard, anybody can do it. It's Randy.
Well, Mike Yameen, nobody worked harder than Mike Yameen in his dozen years at Lawrence High. So I'll give Mike credit for that. The one thing I would love to see at Lawrence, and this is something that I know I've talked about for a long time, the athletes don't cross over there. I can count on a hand the number of
Multi-sport
football,
athletes.
basketball players, and there are a ton of really good athletes. Like we mentioned Louis Reynoso. I shudder to think if he was ever introduced to football, what he could do athletically. And if you look back over the years, the new basketball coach, Jesus Moore, was a football basketball guy and was very good in both. They had a kid by the name of Danny Rodriguez back in the day, ended up playing at, I want to say, Central Connecticut State, which is a 1AA school. Mm-hmm. He played football there, and he was a basketball player too. And more recently, the kid Daryl Munoz was a two-sport kid. But literally, you can count them on one hand. Moore is a new coach there at Lawrence, and Randy's a new coach there. I would love to see the two of them reach out to each other, and find a way to get the athletes in both programs involved.
Cross-conditioning,
because
absolutely.
I'm sure they're missing basketball kids, too, that are just playing football. Yeah. And so I think that would be a major step for Lawrence.
Absolutely.
If they could find a way to link those athletes together to get, I want to say, an amicable working relationship together with those two programs. And again, Jesus is the nicest guy in the world, so I think he's going to be open to that for Lawrence basketball because he valued that. So, that was huge to him growing up. Here's a kid, he struggled growing up in Lawrence. One-parent family, father died as a freshman. So I think that he understands what sports do for those kids in Lawrence, and I think he'll be, as the basketball coach, as positive an influence on the football program as he can be.
On a couple of lighter notes, Lou, Bill Ricca, you're throwing your hat in for Bill Ricca's snack bar?
Well, this goes back a ways.
Yeah.
When my son was in school and I was doing the MVC circuit, I kind of like Bill Ricca, but I might be mixing that up with somebody.
And Eddie McKinnon, the game is at 2 p.m. today, the Bill Ricca Tewksbury game.
Right, 2 o'clock.
And, so we joked about Bill Bryant, our third chair usually. He's out running chains, I guess, for the Reggie's game,
administering the SATs.
No, I think he's part of the chain gang at the Reggie's, the Greater Lawrence game this morning, and
part of the ever-growing bureaucracy in sports government these days.
Yeah. Yes,
you should Skype in. We should have that.
I know, right? We could have the Reggie's game right in the corner there, right? So
we could go out for a mark-off. It would be great.
But I know it's slow motion mark-off. It's like, what will Bill do? Bill has chimed in via text because Bill has coached.
Shocker.
Bill has coached everyone.
Yes.
And he just wanted to make it clear that, for the record, he coached Cam Bowes in Methuen Pop Warner. Okay. So there it is. Bill has chimed in. Listen.
Chased him off the Central, did you, Bill?
Yeah,
right? You chased him to Central.
I mean, come on. If then, Bill, you coached him at Pop Warner, and then he's at Central. So just saying. All right, take a quick break. Pam, you're his husband. Be nice to Bill. You're his wife. Be nice to Bill. Hardest working guy I know.
Yes, he is.
Other than me.
Yeah,
all right.
Yeah. You can lay claim to that.
All right, we'll take a quick break. Come back after the break. We'll get Wesley Correa on the phone line. Take a break. MVC Gridiron Weekly presented by Davila and DeFusco Insurance.
Everyone Everyone is cashing in on social media, and all marketing roads lead through social media. If you want to make a splash here in the Merrimack Valley, you need to tap in. This is where the new CEM Podcast Studios come in. Of course, you can spend your time, energy, and money learning how to wrangle technology to make a podcast instead of running your business. Or you can invest in telling everyone in the Merrimack Valley, Massachusetts, New Hampshire, Maine, the Seacoast, or everywhere in the world about your great business, product, service, or yourself. The CEM Podcast Studio is a local audio and video studio dedicated to the craft of podcasts. Their studios feature state-of-the-art recording and mixing equipment designed specifically to produce the best audio and video podcasts. Best of all you need to worry about is your show, your business, and your brand. We do the rest. Call 978-686-9966. That's 978-686-9966 to schedule a no-obligation tour of the CEM facilities and meet with a podcast specialist. Or go to CEMpodcast.com to find out more about podcasting services. CEMpodcast.com, your window to the world.
I love talking about my man, Val Davila. It's a dream to own your own business, and Val and Susan Davila made that a reality in February 2013. They started with just 2 insurance carriers, but now right-in-place insurance for Progressive, Safeco, Pilgrim, Plymouth Rock, and Mapfre, just to name a few. Need auto insurance, renters, commercial, or home? Davila and DeFusco prides itself in having lifelong roots in the Merrimack Valley. Put their experience to work for you. Visit them at 225 Broadway or call 978-241-7950 for a free quote, or visit them online at daviladefusco.com. Back on MVC Gridiron Weekly.
He actually came
Hector
back.
Longo,
he actually came back. I thought he was gone. I thought he was sneaking out the back door.
Matt rushed out during the break. We weren't sure if he was coming back. So Danny calls you during. Was he like, as long as you're in the area, you want to cover the Tewksbury?
Sounds about right. I mean, it's unbelievable. I see him until 1 in the morning last night because it's Friday night, and then I'm in the office Saturdays from 4 to 10:30. So apparently, the 13 hours in between couldn't wait. Whatever we were.
He missed you.
Yep.
He missed you, man.
That's right.
Yeah, welcome the media.
Not a bad thing. Not a bad thing working your way up. Matt Feld is from the Boston Herald and Sweet Sports. Came up from Boston today and talking Merrimack Valley Conference football with us, giving us a wider perspective of the MIAA as well. So, what?
You mean the MIAA competition as opposed to the MIAA?
Oh, yeah. Let's not talk about that. We don't need to talk politics.
I thought Matt was going to unload all the time. a man from my school. Yes, absolutely.
So a couple texts and folks hitting on Twitter. We will put up the MVC MVP vote for the week after these 2 games today. I ran into the situation last week where I put it up too soon. AJ Caginelli went off on Saturday. We put him back into the poll, and it just wasn't fair. He didn't get any traction. So we're going to wait until after the Saturday games today. We'll be up on our Twitter, MVC Gridiron Week. And I have the graphic. We'll fix it next week, Lou. But it's MVC Gridiron Week because the LY wouldn't fit. So
Speaking of potential MVP candidates for the week.
Nice segue.
Just trying to help you out. I'll lob it to you.
Improving every week.
You knock it out of the park now, Tim.
Look at you. Speaking of, potential candidates, although Kareem Coleman with the trademark might have something to say about that. We had him on the Ranger Nation radio, and he felt a little slighted, and rightfully so, not being in the vote last week with his buddy Ricky Brutus. But Wes Correa, Wes, are you online with us?
Yeah, I am.
How are you, sir?
I'm doing good.
Can't you tell he's riding high on this big one? Come on, Wes, pick it up this morning. Right?
Well, I mean, listen, he left it all in the field, and then he gave a great interview. If you go on to the Eagle Tribune site, he gave a great interview, I guess to Kyle or one of those guys after the game, and you could feel the excitement.
That'd be Dave Willis to you.
It was Dave Willis.
Let's not slight.
Yep, nope, absolutely. I thought it was Kyle Goddett, but yeah, absolutely, David Willis. Thank you. Wes, this was your first ever varsity touchdown catch?
That's right.
Wow. I mean, what? So Wes has been a fixture for the Rangers, providing one of the captains, providing the senior leadership, and just tell us about. Again, I mean, you guys are the cardiac kids here in terms of these comebacks, Wes. I mean, tell us about, how it went down last night.
Well, I mean, just a big role for our team is just being finishers. And although we were down 14-0 at the halftime, I knew we just had to stay focused because we've done it 2 weeks in a row now where we were down at halftime, but we came back. So I had all my faith in my teammates, and just one play at a time, I just knew that we had to execute everything, and at the end, it'll all work out. Now,
that had to be a little tested, though, when they're driving on down the 36-yard line. Seems like you're running out of chances there, and then that big fumble comes, big recovery, and then it's on, right?
Yeah, it was. When I saw that ball come out, everybody was screaming ball, 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 and we jumped on it as quick as we can. It was just a great opportunity, and I knew after that we just had to do what we always do, and inside of me, I knew we were going to win that game.
You said after the game you knew you were getting the ball. I mean, you and Connor Bryant, the quarterback. You guys have a great connection, but why were you feeling it?
Well, I don't know, man. It just when I got that call, when the coach told me that the ball was coming to me, I just everything I had left, just 100%. I just did whatever I could to get wide open and just focus on that ball when it was coming my way.
Oh, Wes, I've only been in this business for 30 years now, and I still can't find the right word. I've used panic, I've used worry, and every time I use those words, a high school athlete kind of gets defensive and thinks, no, we weren't panicking. But there had to be some concern. Down 14-0. Ando was handing it to you. Where do you go? What do you rely on at that point in time? Is there somebody that keeps you guys going, something that keeps you guys going at that point to know you can come back?
No, of course we were nervous, and not only that, but I think we were more mad at ourselves for not coming out stronger and faster, how we should be. But just like I said, we've done it 2 weeks in a row, 3 now, and we just knew we had trust in each other, and we just had to rely on each other to come back and just make sure we execute one play at a time. It wasn't really anything. Not really one person that we had to rely on. It's a teamwork thing. It's an 11-person thing, and I just knew we could get it done.
Wes, even though you guys lost that game to Tewksbury a couple weeks ago, you guys really came back and really had a chance to win that game at the end, even though you guys might not have come out on top. How did that end of the game situation against Tewksbury kind of teach you guys that you guys could pretty much handle, any situation going forward like last night?
Well, yeah, just losing by 1 point, it just made us realize that we were definitely a better team than what we thought we were, and that loss made us work 10 times harder than we were working, and it just drove us through the season, and we knew we could beat anybody, to be honest.
When Connor throws the 3 picks in the first half, Wes, what do you say to him at halftime?
I just told him forget about the first half. It's a second half, new clean slate. Just do whatever you can to progress better, to make this the game-winning half. Just forget about the first half. Forget about 3 picks. Forget everything you've done in the first half. This is a new second half. You're 0 for 0. Now you got to just stay mentally focused and bring this team a W.
Wes, I'm working off the film of the final play there, the touchdown here, but did you have options on the top of that route? Because right before the snap, safety slid over to the slot side, but your route brought you right back to the middle of the field and brought the safety back into the picture for Connor. Were you leveraged inside, or was that the route, or did you have an option?
Yeah, that was the route. It was a post. So I just had to beat so at the beginning, I beat the corner. I stacked him. And then I had to go a little bit into the middle, and that's when the safety picked up on it. So he came back, but he was already 2 steps too late, and Connor was just a perfect throw over that safety into my hands.
2 steps right before the snap, and he was cooked.
Yeah, exactly.
That was all 22 Lou chiming in right there.
I was like, what?
Wow, I happened to see the play, and I just
Lou making a play for show MVP right there.
All right, Wes, I'm turning the page here. Tell me what Central Catholic Methuen means to you.
It means a lot more than Andover, to be honest, just because I know if we beat them, we bring an MVC title, and we haven't done that in years, and it's just something crazy to think about. And it's just a really, really big game and big week for us, and we got to stay mentally focused from day one on Monday until game day on Friday.
Growing up, is there a point in time where that becomes big? When does Central Catholic Methuen, in any sport, when does that become what it has grown into being? Is it a younger age? When does that happen?
Yeah, right when you step into the high school freshman year, you got to know your rivalries, you got to know the sports rivalries and all of that stuff. Once you step the foot into the high school, you got to know them. And Methuen Essential it's a big thing every year.
How many of those guys did you play with coming up through youth football, Wes?
How many guys? A lot of them, to be honest. I don't even know the numbers, to be honest with you.
We didn't. I don't think we asked you when you were in student. Are you one of the few athletes that Bill Bryan didn't coach, or did Bill Bryan coach you as well?
No, he did not.
Okay, all right. We finally found one.
All right, Wes. In my ever growing desire to market you and get word out that Wes is the guy in Methuen. Do you have a nickname?
No, just Wes, to be honest.
Just Wes. Well, I'm going with Wild Wild West from now on. Wild West Guerrero from now on.
I like it.
All
right. I mean, we've got one of the guys from the Boston Herald here. We just got the nickname. We've got you on the star performers list. You want to make any pitch in terms of getting on the Herald Stars of the Week list? Or are you just not? You're not that.
I think a stat line might take care of that one.
Yeah,
maybe.
One call, right now. It's one phone
call away.
Wes, who were the unsung heroes last night? The guys that just don't jump off the stat sheet, but just help deliver it.
Definitely Jonathan Ouellette and Jamie Blaisdell and Anthony Romano on defense. Definitely a big difference makers in the game for defense, just sacking the guy, making great tackles, causing the fumble at the end of the game, which made us get that offensive run to win the game.
Were you playing both ways on the fumble? Were you on the field?
Yes, I was.
Like you mentioned it, but like when that ball does it just go into slow motion at that point where you hear everybody yelling ball, ball, ball?
Yeah, it was just it came out of nowhere. To be honest with you, it was just a normal run, and everybody was just trying to make the tackle, and then Jonathan Ouellette just strips the ball away, and that's when like everything got surreal, and we just like everything in my head started like going off, and I was just like ball, 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 and everybody was looking, and everybody was trying to find that ball, and then we all jumped on it, and it was just adrenaline started pumping. It was just a crazy moment that time.
How so a couple of the parents said it on last week's show. I'm sure it will come up again. Do you think can you guys get it in your head that you gotta make that game-winning drive in the second quarter, perhaps, to just get ahead a little bit?
No, yeah, definitely a big focus this week is definitely driving off 100% faster and stronger in the first half, because we can't do it against Central Catholic, and we all know that we need to just click on offense. Defensively, I think we're doing pretty good, but offensively, we've got to start clicking in the first half.
So they beat Lowell 40-0 last night. When you see that, and you guys made the comeback at Lowell, what does that tell you? Just even more that you may not have even known in terms of the way they matched up against Lowell.
They're definitely a harder team than what we thought, but honestly, I'm not worried about it. Like I said, we've got to just stay mentally focused, and I know these guys, this is a big week for them too, and they're going to do whatever they can to make sure we win at home.
Is there one guy on that team, maybe friends growing up, that just you guys, between the two of you will do a little trash talking to each other this week?
I mean, I don't really talk to him that much, but I mean, probably Mikey Lefebvre on the other team.
Yep.
That's probably one of the only guys.
Wes, I just got to know, where are they going to put all those people on Friday night? Because, it gets tight over there, Nicholson. You got to expect a huge crowd, right?
Yeah, I'm hoping for it.
It's homecoming on top of everything else. So.
Yeah.
In terms of, like, what was the... Take us inside the post-game speech a little bit. I don't want to give too much away, but I mean, Coach Ryan always seems to come with the big speech after the game. I mean, was it more of just about getting rid of those mental mistakes, or was there just a lot of focus on that drive and how you guys came back?
He starts off with just like saying like good job and stuff like that, but then at the end he makes sure that we know that there were a lot of mistakes that were made, and that when Phil comes out we have to look at the mistakes and not the things we did right. So as long as we fix the mistakes, we're going to have a perfect game. So he makes sure he capitalizes on that.
We got Cameron Bowes coming up on the show. Anything you want us to ask in terms of strategy? A little insight, get from Cam.
No, nothing really. Just let him know that we're gonna be ready for him.
Ooh, there it is.
All right, sounds good.
Wes, anything else, Matt?
No. Outstanding quote. High school kids usually sometimes are a little trepid or anything like that, but Wes is fired up.
We will be ready. I mean, it's Methuen Central Catholic. And there's a lot more on the line than I mean, it's usually a big game, but I mean, like Wes said, you legitimately have the title on the line in this game. So
chance to do it at home too. Chance to get it done at home.
Absolutely, Wes. We got you up on a early Saturday morning. We appreciate it. Anything else you want to get out there before we let you go?
No, nothing more.
All right, remember to enjoy this, Wes, because that's what it's all about. You got to enjoy this too.
Yeah.
This is a great week in your life. Enjoy it.
And you got the football, yes?
Yeah.
Okay, good. We'll get that. We got to get that bronzed. That's awesome. Congratulations, first ever varsity touchdown. Kind of a big one. First one's big. First one's big, but especially when it's a game winner. That's awesome. Congratulations, Wes, and thanks for coming on MVC Gridiron Weekly. Good luck next week against Central Catholic.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. That's Wes Correa. Methuen Rangers 4-1 now after a comeback win at Andover last night. I mean, what do you make of Wes?
The kid is growing into a leader that I'm not sure. I mean, I guess Tommy knew, Coach Ryan knew, because he made him a captain.
Yeah.
And obviously, if you look at those three captains, they're kind of all unique in different ways. Aaron, Wes,
and Ian.
Yeah. The three of them. But man, this kid's growing from the first time I talked to him at that scrimmage in Chelmsford to now. Talk about the way he's grown. Good for him.
Presence, confidence, everything.
And I believe him when he talks about the lack of worry or panic or concern at that point. This is a team that's been down and just keeps coming back on you. They just refuse to stop.
You build this resume at this point. Now you have that to fall back on.
Right.
It's not just we think we can. We know we can. We've proven it in on the road twice now on the road in hostile
and teams that lose 30 seniors.
Yes, exactly.
That just does not happen, right?
Absolutely, and he is one of. He's one of the few guys that played a ton as part of last year's team. Mm-hmm. He was definitely one of the under the radar stars for them last year, and stepping up into the spotlight this week. Congratulations to him and to the Rangers. All right, in terms of the other games from last night, what jumped off the page for you? With Central Catholic 40, Lowell nothing. I guess North Andover pitching the shutout as well.
I guess the first thing was the North Andover game, just the relative ease. They put up 24. It was very businesslike, workmanlike. Freddie Gavin again had a big game. One of the great budding stories around the region. A kid who was a bench warmer 2 weeks ago, or a sub, a reserve. I don't want to disparage him like that, but he was a reserve. He was a second stringer.
Yeah.
And now all of a sudden,
down the depth chart.
Now all of a sudden he's the water bug in Friday Night Lights. Yeah. He's walking down the hall. Is that our Comer? Is that our Freddie? He's walking down the halls and he's the guy. So that's got those are the untold little stories that are pretty cool, right? I mean.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And they just keep chugging along. I mean. I think you said it, Matt. Other than Everett, who else are you going to point to that you can take over North Andover? They're suddenly a top 5 team.
Yeah. Yeah, and I don't even say, again, I'm not going to make that type of prediction. I don't it's like, can the NFL team beat Bama? I'm not going to do that. But, I think North Andover's got the skill guys that they could play with literally anyone. I'm not saying they're going to beat anyone, but they can compete with anyone. I mean, you look at the guys that performed last night. You mentioned Freddie, Darren Watson, but guys like, even Jake McElroy is obviously not on the list, and, he's probably one of the best quarterbacks around. Gabe D'Souza.
Absolutely.
And just the consistency. I mean, again, Hector, you mentioned it, but, you beat Central Catholic, who's always, of course, even if they don't maybe have the skill guys they usually do this year, they're still a physical, tough team. You beat Tewksbury, which is kind of the matchup circled, and maybe you still win, but maybe
dominate.
Maybe there's a little bit of a letdown this week just because you're coming off 2 big wins and nothing. They go out and they take care of business.
So you kind of hit on what I was going to ask, but in terms of when you guys do the rankings at Sweet Sports, you do the rankings at Boston Herald. How do you make the comparisons? How do you cross the divisions?
It's really tough.
Yeah.
It is. We always get Duxbury, who's Division III South, but they've got more than enough talent that they can probably play with most kids. Or Lincoln Sudbury, they got upset, or maybe it wasn't. Most people wouldn't even say no longer it's an upset to Acton Boxborough last week, but they're the defending champions. It's kind of tough. I mean, at that standpoint, you kind of. The MVC gives you the luxury of there's the crossover there. So you see North Andover, how do they match up with a Central Catholic, which gives you some perspective. And then you look how St. John's Prep did against Central Catholic. So that helps you out there. But it's tough. A lot of it's the eye test and just knowing, the personnel on the team. Everett and Zavarian have kind of ruled the roost in Massachusetts football the last 5-6 years in terms of consistency. But after that, I mean, I think it's as wide open as anyone. And the divisions now with the 8 divisions, I don't even look at the divisions just because and this is no disrespect, but Bridgewater Raynham's in Division II South. There's almost 2,000 kids at that school, right? That's a Division I size school. So I don't look at them because of their division. I think you could say the same about Lincoln Sudbury.
See, Matt, you didn't let him finish the question. The question he meant to ask was, how do you do those rankings and then avoid the daggers coming from the parents on the sideline?
Absolutely. The daggers, the tweets, the emails. You can't even.
Well, it's funny, and again, Danny's been doing this obviously a lot longer than I am and as good as anyone, and I'm just learning. But I've always found the team that complains usually loses the next week, so I usually let Matt do the talking instead of responding.
Good point.
I never say it or I never put it out there, but Danny always says if someone laughs at you for ranking them so low, you always should write back, well, I guess it wasn't low enough after they lose. So no, you try not to engage, especially if it's a player or a parent. Do you believe? I'll just say a couple weeks ago, Mashpee's on this run. They've won 26 games in a row, and Devon Ford is one of the best backs in the state. But they're Division 7, and I think I had them number 10, and I think I had Brockton, who was 2-0 at 15. And someone said to me, "You really believe that Mashpee's better than Brockton?" And I go, "I don't know. I guess we'll find out." Well, all I know is in the last 2 weeks, Brockton's been outscored 37-12, and Mashpee's still winning. And again, that's not a shot at anyone. I'm just saying the play does the talking on its own.
It's a thankless job, though.
Oh, yeah.
You're never going to satisfy everybody.
No, exactly.
And, a guy like Coach Ryan, he specifically tells his kids, do not, and the parents, do not be sending those emails, do not be lobbying, take care of business, don't buy into that stuff. That said, what does it take for a team is it going to take them to beat Catholic and get the large title to kind of get onto that ranking radar?
I'm a huge believer in strength of schedule, and I'm not saying Methuen hasn't had it, but just in general, across the board, if you're a 2-2 team, but you've played 2 top 10 teams and not who's you've lost to me that's much more important than a 4-0 team that's maybe won 80-0 combined over in their first 4 games. And so, I think Methuen Central Catholic's an outstanding opportunity for Methuen. I think it's proven that they're a contender come the tournament so far with their play, no question. But in order to be a top 20 team, you have to prove that when it's time to really, buckle down and play, that at the very least you can compete and go back and forth. And this is a great opportunity for them. But to me, and it's, it goes with the hockey and the baseball stuff when that actually matters come the tournament. But I'm a huge strength of schedule fan, and I think now with the rating system that we have, even though I don't think it's perfect, I think it's at least made teams go out there and beat top and play top competition.
Did you do TV or radio at Providence?
I did not. No.
Really? No,
Yeah.
you're legit, dude. I'm serious. I'm like, great answers, great presence, great voice. I mean, impressive knowledge. I mean, what is it in terms of? We all start in a spot, and I've said it to Hector, and obviously Hector agrees with this. I've covered a lot more. I've covered pro sports and whatnot, sure. And Hector but I mean, it's high school sports in general, high school football, basketball, just the high school sports. There's a drama there that, no question, that is just intoxicating as a fan, as a writer. And the hometown rivalries. What are you getting out of it right now in terms of as you kind of get into your career?
Well, I mean, I love professional sports as much as the next person. I mean, I was glued to the Yankees-Red Sox last night in the office for 4 hours or whatever it was. Love college sports, huge college basketball, college football fan. But high school sports to me is just as authentic as it gets, right? I mean, for the most part, and again, this is no disrespect, but Massachusetts isn't known for, its football glory. I mean, it's not Georgia, it's not Florida, let's put it that way.
Or Texas.
Yeah, or Texas. So kids are going out there literally just to play for their hometowns, play for their schools if they go to a Catholic school or a private school, and just win. It's the 4 years they're playing with their friends, and that's what they're putting into it. They're not getting any money out of it. They're not getting any, in some cases, maybe they're getting a minor scholarship out of it. So it's just authentic, and I think that's where the enjoyment for me comes into play, is it's, kids have the time of their lives when they're being interviewed by someone, or they're getting the chance to come on a show like this, because they probably realize that they're not going to be on NFL Live in 10 years. So this is their one chance to be stars. If you're Wes Correa or Connor Bryant or whoever, this is your one opportunity. I remember Tyler Nelson, who used to play basketball at Central Catholic, of course, Gatorade Player of the Year, leading scorer at Fairfield, and we were talking, and Tyler and I got to know each other pretty well. We were talking at the end of his Fairfield career, and he was like, "Man, I miss being a senior in high school when ESPN would interview you. You really felt you were on top of the world." And then you go to Fairfield, and you're, he loved his time there, but you're just another D1 athlete, pretty much. So I think this gives kids really that feeling that they're kind of, they're kind of the star of the night, and you don't get that in any other level of sports.
Interesting stuff.
Can't say that better, right?
I don't think I had that perspective at 22.
I know.
Let's be honest with you, Tim.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, so we're gonna take a quick break. We've got Cameron Bose on I think we're getting him on the line. On deck. We'll take a quick break. We'll also talk star performers and get some thoughts on who should be in the MVP vote. We'll do that after the break here on MVC Gridiron Weekly, presented by Davila and DeFusco Insurance. I love talking about my man Val Davila. It's a dream to own your own business, and Val and Susan Davila made that a reality in February 2013. They started with just 2 insurance carriers, but now Right in Place Insurance for Progressive, Safeco, Pilgrim, Plymouth Rock, and Mapfre, just to name a few. Need auto insurance, renters, commercial, or home? Davila and DeFusco prides itself in having lifelong roots in the Merrimack Valley. Put their experience to work for you. Visit them at 225 Broadway or call 978-241-7950 for a free quote, or visit them online at daviladefusco.com.
Everyone is cashing in on social media, and all marketing roads lead through social media. If you want to make a splash here in the Merrimack Valley, you need to tap in. This is where the new CEM podcast studios come in. Of course, you can spend your time, energy, and money learning how to wrangle technology to make a podcast instead of running your business. Or you can invest in telling everyone in the Merrimack Valley, Massachusetts, New Hampshire, Maine, the Seacoast, or everywhere in the world about your great business, product, service, or yourself. The CEM Podcast Studio is a local audio and video studio dedicated to the craft of podcasts. Their studios feature state-of-the-art recording and mixing equipment designed specifically to produce the best audio and video podcast. Best of all you need to worry about is your show, your business, and your brand. We do the rest. Call 978-686-9966. That's 978-686-9966 to schedule a no-obligation tour of the CEM facilities and meet with a podcast specialist. Or go to CEMpodcast.com to find out more about podcasting services. CEMpodcast.com, your window to the world.
Back here on MVC Gridiron Weekly. Want to tell you about Jen Hamilton, Realtor. Jen is, we want to talk about Methuen Central Catholic. Jen is a huge Central Catholic, but also a big fan of the Rangers, so she'll have some split allegiances at the game. Jen is, it's the fall market is in full swing. Tons of great opportunities out there for buyers and sellers, and you need a legitimate realtor to close the deal, to find you the best houses. Jen Hamilton is that legit realtor. She's a star with Keller Williams Realty, and she will, whether you're buying or selling, she will get you the home that you want and the top dollar that you deserve in terms of your home. Call her at 508-954-7941 or visit jenhamilton.com. Huge thank you to Jen for supporting MVC Gridiron Weekly. So, Tim Wood, Matt Feld, Hector Longo, Lou Blasi. Lou. I mean, serious. All 22 Lou. That's the nickname now, my friend. Look, I mean, that was legit.
Well, I do write a little football, so.
He does. He's for a long time. That's kind of the under the radar Lou. Yeah. That, he's a he's just funny, a 5-tool prospect.
Because I saw the tape and I was thinking EJ in Andover. I was thinking he's going to have something to say about him getting behind the defense there. And then I went back to the beginning, and it was only cover one, which surprised me, and that's how it happened.
Yeah.
And then I saw the safety slip over, and I was wondering.
That means man with one safety on top, cover one.
Oh, is that how it works? Yeah, I've seen that in Madden a few times. Okay. So I thank you.
C button. Yeah.
Yes. It's X and then Y. Yeah, Y.
That's
and
how
then
I learned.
Right button.
Wrong year for me saying Madden. If you said it was on Nintendo, Nintendo system,
Tecmo Bowl.
The NES. Yes, I had it in Tecmo Bowl.
Oh yeah, Super Tecmo Bowl. All right, who's your favorite? I mean, other than Bo. Of course it's Bo, but other than Bo.
I didn't honestly.
Christian Okoye.
I was an RBI baseball guy.
Oh wait, yeah.
So.
Did you ever play Bases Loaded?
Never.
Oh, that's a great game. Oh, dude, we could go on for days in terms of.
We're so old.
We are. We are.
I still play MLB The Show. So.
Oh, there you go.
Nice.
Such a loser.
The only game now for baseball. I mean, they've got a reboot of RBI baseball, but it's nothing like the original.
Oh, I tried it like 4 years ago. I hated it.
Oh, right? It was so disappointing. It was like anyway.
But we digress.
We do. We can. We will occasionally. Do we have Cameron?
Yep.
Cameron Bose, how are you, sir, from Central Catholic? How are you today? Really appreciate you coming on MVC Gridiron Weekly.
I have to start first. Cam and I have a past. We have a history. I think for 22 straight Raider basketball camps, I chose not to draft him. And for 22 straight camps, I ended up with an awful team, and he would punish me week after week and run a basketball camp. Cam Bose was a camp legend in 6th, 7th, 8th grade. So just want to let you know, I still hold a grudge, Cam. I'm letting you know. I still hold a grudge.
But he knows. He knows he can at least admit his mistakes.
He was the guy that you go, maybe if I could steal him in the 3rd round, and then you'd laugh at the guy who took him at the end of the 1st round, and then he'd punish you all week. So good for you, Cam. Overachiever from the beginning. An overachiever.
Thank you.
Now, do you own that overachiever comment, Cam, or you just want to tell him, listen, I was a star from the get-go?
No, I think I'll own the overachievement. I think.
All right, tell us about this team. You guys are just coming on week after week. Now the last 2 games here, outscoring the opponent 73-14. Tell us how this team is coming together.
Yeah. Well, we had a tough schedule to start. I think
with St. John's and North Andover. But then after that, we really took pride in how we practice, and we really turned it around. The young guys up front they're really starting to come together, and I think Jared and now Aiden Gordon are they're putting together some good games, and they both have some like different qualities in their skills and how they play. So I think everything's come together well.
How do you feel in terms of this two quarterback offense? Kind of just this kind of wrinkle. I mean, you get like you said, a different look from both of them there.
Yeah, I think it's good with what Coach Sexton's doing. He realized that they both have like different things they can offer us, and I mean, Aiden came in the Andover game and he threw a great ball to Jermaine, and he really sparked us for the rest of the game. So I think Coach Sexton realized that he deserved the chance for the rest of the season.
Well, Kim, I took a minute to watch your junior highlight film, so I'm going to segue this to the other side of the ball because I saw you make quite a few plays from the outside linebacker spot. Last night, you guys held low to under 100 yards of offense. What was the key there?
I think the defense just they came together. The inside backers, they played really well, and our defensive linemen played really, really well. And our defensive backs did too. I don't think we had many deep balls over the top, so I think everyone just came together and played well.
As a two-way guy, do you consider yourself a linebacker first? Because I get the sense that you are a linebacker at heart. Yes,
I do. I love playing defense.
Tell us about Louis Baez Trancasso. He just dominated and grabbed the headlines last night. Just give us a little insight on just the will of this guy.
I mean, he worked extremely hard. From freshman year, he never touched a football before, and now from a senior year starter, he's really making an impact. I mean, he had 2 sacks last night, and I don't know how many tackles, but he's playing really well. He works extremely hard in practice, off the field, in the weight room during the summer, whatever it takes. Larry's going to get it done.
Yeah, congratulations again on the win last night, and I'm just curious, you kind of mentioned it, right? St. John's Prep, North Andover, really tough schedule early on, and you guys, of course, maybe had to kind of retool a little bit off some of the guys you lost offensively last year. Do you guys feel like you're really starting to hit your stride as the big part of the season comes up?
Yeah, I think we're past the halfway point, and I think we're hitting our stride right at the right time, and as we go towards the end of the season and into the playoffs, I think everything's coming together, and the lines, like I said, they're putting together good practices and good games, so I think it's a good time to hit our stride.
Cam, I'm a longtime Methuen guy, and the last name Bose has always been around Methuen sports. Like I'm 52 now, and back to my high school days, I want to think wrestling. For some reason.
Yeah.
Can you talk about the athletes in your family, maybe one generation back and like your brothers and stuff?
Yeah, well, my uncle and my dad, they both my uncles and my dad, they all wrestled at Methuen High. My uncle Eric,
Eric was a stud, right? Champ. He was a legend back in the day.
Yeah,
right?
he was the first state champ at Methuen for wrestling. Okay. So then they all wrestled. They played football for a little bit, but then my oldest brother, he decided to go to Central, and from there, me and my middle brother Nick, we no other choice but to go to Central. So we went there. Nick was on the 2013 team. He won the Super Bowl for Central, and now I'm following up their footsteps.
And what was it like seeing your brother get that victory and just seeing the heights that you can reach?
It was eye-opening for sure. From the moment we walked into that stadium, so when we left, that's all I wanted to do. I mean, I think I was in 6th or 7th grade, and that's all I wanted to do. And then freshman year came, and I decided that I was going to work, and sophomore year I switched positions, and that's all I wanted to do was get to that state championship.
That game down in Foxborough that day against Bavarian, was an incredible game. What do you remember from that? Do you remember anything special about that day, other than the fact that your brother's playing where Tom Brady plays?
I just remember like DeAndre and like Cody, all those guys. I just remember watching them and Mike Milano. They were like stars to me. They were like NFL athletes from my eyes, and it was a great experience to watch them play.
I was going to say that day, DeAndre, from that day on, Coach Ovalis forever will see me, anytime he sees me, and remind me of that day that DeAndre had, because I think like one time, maybe it might have been even working at camp with him that summer, I think I said, what are you guys going to do for a star? You don't have a guy who can make plays in the backfield. And DeAndre was on the Jumbotron more than Gronk is on a regular Sunday there. He made so many plays. So
DeAndre,
and Coach Ovalis, it's funny that he won't let me forget it. And it's funny, the first words out of your mouth were about DeAndre Drummer Murray, just the day he had there. That's amazing, right?
Yeah.
What is it about Central Catholic for you, Cam? Like that was just a lock that you needed to be there.
I think just from when my oldest brother went there, he really he set the he just set the tone and what was going to happen, and then we went to the basketball games, the football games, and you could see that the tradition and the basketball games and the football games and the fan sections, all that stuff led into it, and just seeing what the atmosphere was like at this game was really special. What
is it like for that first moment, for the first guy in the family to make that choice? I mean, was that a family divider at that moment, or are we all good now?
No, I think we're all good now, but at first it was different. I mean, we grew up in Methuen. We all went to Methuen Public Schools, played in Methuen sports, and then Matt came along and he went to Central, and everyone was pretty confused, but I think it was a good decision for all of us.
Absolutely. Started new traditions. Spread the name to another school, right?
Yeah.
And so now you get the chance, Cam, as a senior, to play in a week where both of you are undefeated in the league. Central Methuen's already special. All of a sudden, this week just is taking steroids as in the specialness category. Can you describe what this week's going to be like for you?
Yeah, I mean, we've looked forward to this game since, I don't know, it's always a special one. Every season it is. Last year was a great game. I mean, I don't expect anything else from this game. They're a great team. We're going to prepare all week, and we'll see what happens Friday night.
We had Wes Correa on earlier from Methuen. He just wanted to send the message that they're going to be ready.
Yeah.
That was it. That was as much trash talk as you're gonna get. But just want to say they're gonna be ready.
All right.
Good to know, right? Good to know.
Yeah, I see that Coach A has reached out to you previous to this interview, Cam, and let you know exactly what not to say.
That's perfect. That's absolutely perfect.
Just the tone of that. All right.
Cam, I just got one more for you. Obviously, you mentioned Jermaine earlier. I'm wondering, as a tight end, has his dad helped you at all? Because I know his dad likes to get involved a little bit, former Patriot Jermaine Wiggins. Has he helped you at all as a tight end? Some things you might not have picked up beforehand?
Yeah, during preseason, obviously, there's a lot more time, with practice and stuff. So he was there, through preseason some days and, in the summer through, 7-on-7s and stuff. And he picked up on, just the smallest things that no one else would think of, and obviously he knew playing in the NFL and everything, so it was nice of him to come on and help me out with that stuff, and he's done good.
We asked this to everyone, Cam, in terms of just, those guys that may not get on the show or that may not get the headlines in the papers. Who are those dirt dogs for you that are just the behind the scenes stars or in the trenches stars that deserve shout outs?
I think one guy is Chris Jones. He had a pick last night, actually. He's our nose guard. Chris is toughest kid you'll meet. He's a short little kid. He works extremely hard. He's done everything he can to earn that spot, and he's performing. Last week he had a good game too, and this week nothing else but a good game. So.
Do you allow yourself outside of the Methuen Catholic showdown? Do you allow yourself to think about, a title on the line here, or does Coach just keep you away from that?
Right now, I mean, it's week to week. We need to take it that way. Obviously, the MVC title it's a big one for us, and that's what we're working for right now. But week to week from here on out, we got Methuen next week, and that's the biggest game of the season right now.
What's the rest of the weekend looking like for you? Are you a Madden guy? Are you going out to any of the fairs? What's the rest of the weekend looking like?
Well, definitely go watch some football tonight and tomorrow. Play a little Madden probably, and just relax, get ready for this week.
Outside of the Patriots, if you're forced to take another team, who do you play with?
Oh boy, I think the Hawks. I mean the Falcons.
Yeah, weapons.
I think so. I think that would be my team.
Although the updates, I'll tell you, Patrick Mahomes is becoming a superstar in the league, and his ratings are off the chart now every week with the updates. So
yeah, might have to take that into consideration.
Kim, I started with the hoop. I'll end it. Let people know. Do you play any other sports, or is it strictly football now? What are you looking to do, and for your future? What's up with that?
Well, right now it's strictly football. I used to play basketball and baseball, freshman and sophomore year, but then I decided to stick with football and hopefully play at the next level in college, and I'd be very grateful to do that. But I think this winter and spring I'll either run track or throw shot put or jab or something. I did a little in the spring. I threw jab, and then I hurt my shoulder, so that got cut short, but I think I'll do a little track in the winter and spring.
No pressure from Uncle Eric or even Coach A to get you on the mat in the winter?
No, not yet. We'll see. But not yet.
Be smart. You're a smart kid. I've talked to you before, Kim. You're a smart kid. Stay away from the mat. Those guys hit their head on the mat too long. It's a tough grind, bro.
Yeah.
Cambo's, huge thank you. Before we let you go, anything else that we didn't get to? Anything else you want to get out there?
No, I don't think so. Thank you guys for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. That's Cambo's. Thank you for coming on MVC Gridiron Weekly. We hugely appreciate you giving up a little on the Saturday. And congratulations on the success thus far and down the road here.
Good luck this week.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you again. All right. Good stuff.
He's a good kid.
Good stuff.
Like I said, I regretted not drafting him every week at camp, so good for him. He's a good kid.
One of these days, Danny and I or someone's going to throw the expose into whether Coach A ever does not wear shorts for the game. I mean, I remember a couple of years ago, I'm at a Central Catholic Andover sectional final. Yeah. It's like 5 degrees, and there he is with the shorts. It's like
my wife rails on him for that over and over again. It's like, you don't have to, but that's his gig, man.
You gotta have a signature.
Yeah,
it works.
Yeah.
All right, so let's talk some star performers. Just we obviously got 2 more games to go here, but just in the games that we had last night, we talked to Wes. Wes had 5 catches, 115 yards, game-winning touchdown catch. As we said, first ever varsity touchdown, and what a moment. Kareem Coleman with the trademark. We said that because he put the trademark on his Twitter handle.
There you go.
3 catches, 97 yards, a touchdown, 78-yard flea flicker catch from Connor Bryant.
Can we just say that Connor Bryant saved us, okay? Because he could have been well on his way to creating and perpetrating the first ever MVC Gridiron Weekly curse after coming on last week.
Oh, yeah.
And then he throws 3 TD passes and exonerates us.
Yes.
So we owe big props to Connor Bryant.
First half, not so much, but
we owe big props. Yeah. He was destined for doom there and said, you know what? I don't believe in curses. I don't believe in this stuff. I'll prove it wrong. And he proved it wrong. So big ups to Mr. Bryant on that one.
Third late game come from behind drive leader, of the year. Methuen always seems to get in the close games, but the way they've come back, they're a fun team to watch. Both of the Central Catholic Methuen is just going to be, like you said, on steroids.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so 3 TDs after the early picks. What else we got on the list here?
Well, we got Victor Harrington, the end of a quarterback. He was 15 of 27 for 247 and a TD. More importantly, he was under siege from that Methuen defense, and he stood up to it. So give him big credit there. Tommy Duncan, 19 carries, 52 yards and a TD. 3 picks?
3 picks.
In the first half.
3 picks.
I was wondering if that might have been a misprint
that
there.
That was not.
Jeez.
And now we can segue that into the Methuen defense coming up huge in the second half. Guys like Aaron Searth, and I wanted to know, and I give myself all the blame in the world here. Why didn't I ask Wes how good Anthony Romano he thinks he can be?
Oh yeah,
as a sophomore.
We had him in here on Wednesday for the Rage Nation radio show, and. Yeah. I mean, sophomore. It's crazy, and he's always been that beast guy. But yeah, I mean, he's coming on every week.
Yeah. Matt over at North Andover.
Yeah, North Andover, I mean, we talked about Freddie earlier in the show. I mean, Freddie Gavin, 10 rushes, 141 yards, the 40-yard touchdown run. I mean, just so many components to that North Andover offense. And right below that, what do you know, Darren Watson, another component, 6 rushes, 88 yards, the 52-yard TD run, the interception, just able to beat you in so many ways and contribute in so many ways. We just had Cameron on, Central Catholic defense. I mean, they just continue to do it again and again, no matter, it doesn't seem to matter the calendar year. And once they get another shutout of Lowell, 40-0, giving up just, 97, total yards. Louis Baez, Tronkowsko. Jeez, Saturday morning.
It's all good.
Saturday morning.
It took him 71 minutes and 30 seconds. He finally made a mistake.
Right?
The kid finally broke. He finally broke. We got him, Tim. We got him.
We're not even sure he made a mistake.
Not really.
The 2 sacks, Aiden Gordon, with the touchdown pass, and then Jared Silverio with 2 touchdown runs, and then AJ Caggianelli, who last week had a monster week, especially defensively, and again this time around, 11 carries, 73 yards, a sack on defense, and sure enough, after the huge game last week, he's really just coming into his own in this league as one of the top players, I think, to watch.
Yeah.
So we get 4 people to put on this. Who would, in terms of the MVP vote on Twitter? And by the way, huge thank you to everybody on Twitter last week between the videos we've been put up. If you got you got game video, you got huddle highlights that you want to get out there from your teams. Send it to us. Send it to me, Tim at loopweekly.com. We'll get it up on the MVC Gridiron social media for sure. Had about 10,000 views total on three of those videos, and then well over 1,200 votes on the MVP last week. So huge shout out to the audience. Good to see we're gaining a little traction here.
That's good to hear. I mean, look, the kids deserve it. I think we try to keep it fun and interesting, and I would love to get it down to an hour, Tim, but it's just so chock full of stuff.
We're getting there.
We're almost there.
Who would you put? If we leave one spot for these Saturday games? 3 guys that you put on the list.
That's tough to think about. I point to the Methuen game because it was such a wild event.
Yeah.
You have to think the quarterback, and Connor, and you have to think West for 2 of them, anyways.
Yeah.
To make such a big time play so late in the game.
We'll come up with the list like I said.
Job,
yeah.
though.
Yeah. Well, I took some heat for missing and not for consulting you. Or consulting Bill. So
let's get Bill. Let Bill make the decision so he can take the heat.
There you go. Week 6 games: Andover at Haverhill, Tewksbury at Chelmsford, Lowell at Lawrence. We mentioned Central Catholic at Methuen. Catholic Memorial You know, you talk about. I see there. Where are they on your Sweet Sports?
We got them at 5. I'll be over on Baker Street later today, 3 o'clock.
Interesting thing happening over at Catholic Memorial seems to be a resurgence in the football program. Anything going on with that?
I mean, I don't know. I would like to remind you they were in the sectional final last year.
Okay.
So but no, I don't know if there's an indoor bubble over there. I don't know I don't know what's going on.
And then North End over at Drake-It. I mean, what outside of Catholic Methuen jumps off?
The North End Drake-It game should be a good one. I think it's kind of Drake-It's last stand in the league here.
Yeah.
Or they're looking at the North Andover's final hurdle.
Yeah.
So that's a big one to them in the league, and so I think that'll be interesting. And then, don't you have Andover and Haverhill? They'll be both jockeying for playoff lives, right? At that point.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Or at least position anyway.
No question.
Right.
No question.
What can Bill Ricca expect to see? What is the one thing that jumps off the page in terms of Catholic Memorial?
Well, I think Bill Ricca might be getting Catholic Memorial in a good spot. You know, they played Xaverian last week. Of course, we're up 17-0. Had a tough loss, ended up losing 25-17. They're getting St. John's Prep this week, and I think I'm really high on the Prep, and I wouldn't be surprised. And I picked the Prep to win. So maybe if you can get them coming off 2 high-profile losses, maybe they're overlooking Bill Ricca when they take the road up there. But to me, the big thing with Catholic Memorial is you kind of just have to take the allure off of Catholic Memorial and slow the game down. I think Xaverian did a really good job of that. The CM's got the high-powered, fast-paced offense. They got up to the quick 14-0 lead, and then Xaverian kind of slowed the game down. And I'm not, Bill Ricca is going to have a tall task for them. They might not have some of the athletes that Xaverian has, but it's just if you're able to kind of stall the game in that second quarter, at the end of the first quarter, slow the game down, possess the ball, and kind of keep CM off the field or kind of break up their rhythm on offense, you can really take them out of what they like to do, which is kind of that fast-paced, 10 plays in 2 minutes type of ordeal. And if you can do that and you can kind of keep the game within striking distance, make them uncomfortable, get them frustrated on the offensive side of the ball, you can really disrupt them. That's what Xaverian did last week. I said the Prep will try to do that again today. And sometimes they can just take that one drive that kind of gets them off their game, a quick 3-and-out, whatever it may be, force one turnover, and all of a sudden that rhythm that they're in kind of evaporates.
On a large scale, I will ask you, Matt, how explosive can that CM program be? And I use explosive as a positive.
Sure.
How explosive can that situation be down the road?
Yeah, I think it can be. I think a lot of people, of course, when John DiBiase left Everett and went over there, kind of jumped immediately to the conclusion that CM was going to be the gauntlet. But Xaverian's won 5 Division I South titles in a row, and if I had to bet house money right now, I'm gonna say that they're gonna win a 6th this year. Mm-hmm. And of course, there's competing for kids. When kids are trying to decide where they're gonna go to school, and of course, Coach DiBiase has his own allure, but winning 61 South titles in a row has one of its own as well.
Sure.
And so I think I'm not gonna quite put them at the top just yet. If I had to bet, within 3 years they'll be a Super Bowl champion at some point along the way. But for now, it's still Xaverian's section to lose, and it is until further notice.
Awesome. Great stuff from him.
Great, Matt.
All along.
Phenomenal job. I mean, listen, you're welcome anytime. Really appreciate you making the trip. We will kick Bill Bryan out of the seat anytime you want to come up. Really, listen, guys, Boston Herald guys in general. I mean, we talk about it. We don't want, I mean, they are the class in terms of covering high schools around the state. Mm-hmm. But especially given, as you've said, giving love to the Merrimack Valley and just all around, and the stuff you're doing with Sweet Sports too. I mean, it's clearly you have a passion for this, and it shows on in the words and how you came through today.
Thank you guys for having me on. I mean, I think it's great for kids to get any exposure. We talked about it earlier, but anything that they can get. We unfortunately can't be at all 175 games every week. So stuff like this is important, and I think I wish other conferences covered their leagues like this one does. And so thank you guys so much. Great opportunity, and it's great for the kids.
Awesome. All right, as we said, vote for the MVP later today. We'll put it up probably around 6 p.m. after the Saturday games. Vote on Twitter at MVC Gridiron Week. No LY on the end of that. And vote throughout the week. We'll probably cut it off on Wednesday. But also, check us on demand. You guys have been great in terms of viewing on Twitter. Check us on demand on loopweekly.com, on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. Lou, final thoughts?
Loved it. Matt was great.
Yeah.
Matt, you got to chase this stuff down. Take every appearance you can. Go out there and, expand your horizons here.
Thank you, Lou. Appreciate it. Thank
Savvy
you.
advice from the veteran, all 22 Lou.
Lose a radio veteran. Yeah, that's gonna stick
Forever and ever.
Wild Wild West and all 20. You were the Berman today. With
On
the
fire
nickname.
today.
Look at you.
I've been called worse.
Yeah.
Today by relatives.
All right. We will wrap it up for this week. Another edition of MVC Gridiron Weekly in the books. Again, huge thank you to the commenters, to Wes Correa, to Cam Bose. We'll get some more guests in here next week. We will talk Week 6 big matchups. MVC Gridiron Weekly, Saturdays at 10 a.m. Check us out. Huge thank you to Davia and DeFusco Insurance, Jen Hamilton, Realtor. We will talk for Lou, for Hector, for Matt Feld. Twitter.
Matt, just with a Y at the end. So Matty Feld 612.
Matty Feld 612. Check us out next week. MVC Gridiron Weekly. Have a great week, everybody.